I am sure a lot of you heard about the Karl Jacobs cancellation a few weeks ago. I won't go too much into it, but pretty much stands of Karl Jacobs try to cancel him because he was in an Ice Poseidon stream 4 years ago. Ice Poseidon is a very controversial figure on Twitch and YouTube. Karl ended up apologizing for formerly associating with him, but some stans were still unhappy with Karl because he hadn't apologized for associating himself with Pokimane and Lone SX, who have been accused of being transphobic and Islamophobic respectively. Personally, I think this whole situation is really stupid and people should not cancel people based on the idea of guilty by association. Instead of making some video where I go over the flawed reasoning behind this idea, I would make this video where I go over one controversial person each member of the DreamSMP has recorded with. Before I begin, I want to make it clear that I'm not trying to cancel anyone in the DreamSMP, even if the title technically says I am. I'm just trying to illustrate that none of these people should be cancelled, because that would mean everybody in the DreamSMP should be cancelled if you apply the same logic to all of them. Also, I do realize that a lot of the quote-unquote problematic people vary heavily. Some of these people have apologized for what they did, others have not. Some of these people I do not agree with being labeled problematic, others are literal pedos. However, if Stan's rationale for someone being problematic is making edgy jokes or saying this years ago, then I do believe all these people fall under the category of problematic. Also, whenever I say stans, I'm only talking about stans to try to cancel content creators. The reason I am somewhat generalizing them is that there's literally no other name I am aware of that I could refer to them by. Without further ado, let's get into it. First, we have Dream. Dream has associated himself with many sketchy people throughout his career, but the only one specific to Dream is none other than Notch himself. If you are somehow unaware, Notch has been accused of everything from racism, anti-Semitism, transphobia, and more. Next, we have Dream's buddy GeorgeNotFound. I believe Lone SX was on a GeorgeNotFound stream once or twice. This is problematic because, as previously stated, Lone SX has said some things that could be considered as Islamophobic. For Bad Boy Halo, you have the small Minecraft hacking channel Doxioli. I made an entire video talking about Bad Boy Halo and his potential connection to a Minecraft hacking ring, so just go watch that if you want to find out more. This is one of the only cases where I actually want the person I'm jokingly accusing of being problematic to respond, just because I want to find out more about the Doxioli guy. Anyway, moving on to Sapnap, we have Ksi. A few months ago, Ksi was accused of being a homophobic, racist, and a bunch of other things by Minecraft stans. I think I'm going to turn the Ksi's situation into its own video, because I think it's pretty interesting, so stay tuned for that if you want to find out more. It is a similar case for Puns and his problematic associate andVMG. andVMG was accused of being racist towards Mexican people a few weeks ago, and she has since responded. Although a lot of stans seem to have accepted her apology, this is her third apology on the same accusations, so I wouldn't be surprised if stans go back to cancelling her within a few weeks. Next we have TommyInnit. Like Dream, TommyInnit is no stranger to recording with controversial figures, and since he has so many to choose from, I went with an oddball pick and one of my favorite streamers, Boof Delivery, more commonly known as Logan. For those unaware, TommyInnit was on a Minecraft Ultimate team with Logan, Joko, and ConnorEatsPants back in July. Logan is friends with Hugbox and Cscoop, are pretty much public enemies 1 and 2 for the stan community. Logan has also been pretty vocal of his dislike for Dream, the DreamSMP, and his friends. Tubbo is someone who I do not think anyone has ever tried to cancel, even his stans. However, he has still recorded some controversial people. One of them is David, a member of the YouTube channel Soot House. Soot House was known for their pretty edgy humor, even making a video where they go on to an incel form. Moving on to Purpled. Did you know that in May of 2020, Purpled was in a small UHC tournament called UHC on Air? One of the other players in UHC on Air is a guy named Nightbot. Nightbot is pretty open with his hate for stans, cancel culture. I'm sure he has a lot of other opinions a lot of stans would be unhappy with. Once again, I feel like I should clarify I do not actually think Purpled or Tubbo or even Nightbot and David should actually be cancelled. I'm just trying to show the hypocrisy of people who think Karl Jacobs should have apologized. Next, we have Fundy. The only reason I know who Fundy is because one time he got cancelled for making rape jokes in a Jackbox game. You know who else was in a Jackbox game? James Charles. I rest my case. Next, we are moving on to Wilbur's Soot. Wilbur's Soot used to be friends with a guy named the Arliss Finch, and Arliss was in a few of Wilbur's videos. I already made a video talking about Arliss Finch, so let's go watch that if you want more information. You will not be disappointed. JSchlatt is someone who does not even need any problematic friends to be cancelled, but if any of JSchlatt's friends were to get him in trouble, it would be Nopify. Like Boof Delivery and Nightbot, Nopify is open with his disgust for Dream and his stans, and has also made a ton of jokes that could get you cancelled on Twitter. Moving on to Skeppy. You may think at first that because Skeppy is a family-friendly Minecraft YouTuber, all of his recording buddies would not be problematic. However, you would be wrong. One of Skeppy's main collaborators is Preston, aka Preston Plays, aka TBNR Frags, aka Preston Cosmic. Back in 2016, Preston Plays publicly tweeted his support for Donald Trump, so I'll just leave it at that. Eret is someone who also prides himself on being a safe space for people of all communities, but it was not always like that. Back in Minecraft Championship 1, Eret was teamed with a small YouTuber named JC the Caster. JC the Caster makes tons and tons of edgy jokes. His main friend group consists of people like Raccoon Eggs, Fitz, and iNotorious, and those three may very well be the three most quote-unquote problematic people on YouTube. Jack Manifold is one of quite a few DreamSMPers to go on Trainwreck's Scuffed podcast. Trainwreck is infamous for his hate for cancel culture, and, surprisingly, he was one of the only people I've talked about so far who actually had an N-word scandal. Also, he literally got banned from Twitch for making a rant about titty streamers. How have the stands not found out about this yet? Again, I don't actually think Trainwreck should be cancelled at all, but if you're going to get mad at Karl Jacobs for recording with Ice Poseidon, at least apply the same logic to all the other DreamSMPers. Of course, applying that same logic would mean you have to stop watching almost all the DreamSMP. Anyway, Nihachu is one of the only female streamers in the DreamSMP, but she too has recorded with problematic people. One of her friends is Austin Show, and her appearances on Lover Host is what gave her a ton of popularity in the first place. However, the show was not called Lover Host back when Nihachu first went on. The show was called The Ratchler. Instead of going by his actual name, Austin went by the stereotypical Indian name Raj Patel. Quackity is another person who I have never seen being cancelled on Twitter, a stat that honestly shocks me. I mean, Quackity was literally the editor for literally the most edgy YouTuber of all time, Leafy is here. The only more controversial you can get is being associated with accused sexual predators. Wait a minute. Moving on from that, I have talked about HBomb 94 before in my CubeSMP videos. There are a whole slew of controversial people from there I could choose from. However, I'm gonna have to go with Joey Graceffa, a non-Cube member. Joey Graceffa was friends with HBomb for a long time. Joey Graceffa was also friends with Shane Dawson, and this friendship would get him cancelled and bullied out of Minecraft Championship back in 2020 due to accusations of racism. Technoblade is a YouTuber who many stands already dislike, but I'm still including him because I do not want to leave anyone out. Technoblade used to be friends with VoiceOver Pete, and made many videos and streams with the Boomer. However, VoiceOver Pete has gotten into some trouble over claims of sexual harassment. Just go watch the video Why VoiceOver Pete is Hated by Propelled the Penguin for more information. At first, andFrost was going to be one of the few people I did not include in this video just because he has barely had an online presence. However, then I realized andFrost was in the background of a KSI livestream. As I'm sure most people know, KSI has been cancelled in the past by stans for saying some transphobic things. Like Technoblade and JSchlatt, Philza is someone who a lot of stans dislike and think is problematic without needing to look at his friends. If you were to look at all the people Philza has recorded with, you'd find that the Minecraft YouTuber Calvin was in his SMP Earth group. Calvin is infamous for his hate of all stans and cancel culture, and the hate for stans is not just a one-way relationship. The stans accusing Calvin of too many things to even list. Now, for the 68th time this video, I do not actually think any of these people, in the DreamSMP or not, should actually be cancelled with the exception of a few of the people that have committed little crimes like James Charles. The whole point of this video is to illustrate the exact opposite stance. Also, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. According to YouTube Analytics, only 5% of watch time on my channel comes from people who are actually subscribed. That number is smaller than a mosquito. If you have made it this far, you're clearly interested in this video, so why not subscribe so you can see the rest of my equally interesting content. Now that I have successfully got 2 people to subscribe, let's go back to quote-unquote exposing DreamSMP members. ConnorEatsPants really doesn't even need to be mentioned, he literally lives with JSchlatt. However, did you know that ConnorEatsPants was able to get Video Game Donkey in one of his videos? Video Game Donkey said the R word in that one video he made making fun of Levius here a billion years ago. So I guess using Karl Jacobs' logic, ConnorEatsPants needs to apologize. Captain Puffy's Twitter bio reads, feisty but wholesome, which I guess could be true if your definition of wholesome is racism. Captain Puffy has done Twitch streams with the streamer Just the Minx, who has recently gotten cancelled. Why, I am not entirely sure. But I think the people cancelling Minx even have less of an idea on why they're cancelling her than I do. Moving on from that, Ranboo is another DreamSMPer who wants to have a squeaky clean and safe image. Unfortunately for Ranboo, his Minecraft Ultimate teammate, Menacing Banana, does not have that safe image. Menacing Banana is pretty infamous in the Skyblock community for just generally being an ass, with a low light beam when he tried to scam the Minecraft server PvP Wars from an advertising deal they made. Just go watch the video The Darker Side of Menacing Banana by Aggro for more context. The last DreamSMPer I will be talking about is Hannah XX Rose. Back in 2019, Hannah XX Rose was in a season of a UHC tournament called the United UHC. You know who else was in that season of United UHC? A6D. I rest my case. So those were all of the DreamSMPers I could find that have collaborated with some controversial figures with just a quick Google search. And yes, most of these were found either with me already being familiar with the streamer, or just with a quick Google search. There were a few people I left out, however. I'd not include Vixar, Laserbeam, or Slimesicle because they seem to have only played once on the DreamSMP, while finding controversial figures for them would not be very hard. I also did not include Ponk, Awesome Dude, Callahan, or Foolish Gamers. The reason for this is because I was unable to find any direct correlation between them and some quote-unquote problematic creators I did not already use. I think this is due to the fact that those four are all very new creators who have only gotten big in the past few months, but they also haven't gotten as big as other people like Sapnap or GeorgeNotFound, so they haven't been able to collaborate with anyone they wanted to yet. If I wanted to, I'm sure I could go through all their following lists to find one person who said something unbased once, or I think even stands are not that obsessive. I hope this video was able to demonstrate why the idea of guilty by association is flawed. You should not judge people based on who they recorded with for a video one time, you should judge them on who they are today. However, if you genuinely think that Karl Jacobs should apologize for being on a stream with a person considered to be problematic, then all these people I mentioned in this video should also apologize and be held accountable. And just to reiterate, obviously not all the problematic people are actually problematic. I actually enjoy a lot of the content of people who are called problematic, like Video Game Donkey and Booth Delivery. I only included them because the rationale for disliking Ice Poseidon is pretty much the same as disliking someone like Donkey. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe, and if you have any information regarding the fall of JSchlatt, please DM me on Twitter. I'll see you in the next video.
Told me get my act together. Now I got my act together. Yeah. Now I made it through the weather. Better days are gonna get better. I'm so happy the carbonite is gone.